and I love popcorn, and I am so happy to have with me this morning Diane Pfeiffer. Diane is known as the Iowa Popcorn Princess, and she's here to celebrate October as National Popcorn Month with her great book that's called For Popcorn Lovers Only. Hi, Diane.
Hi, good morning.
Thanks for being with us on WHO.
Well, happy National Popcorn Month.
Thank you, and we're going to be giving away some of your books here in a little bit, but this book is chock-filled with all sorts of different popcorn recipes, and it truly is for popcorn lovers, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, a lot of people have said, well, what possessed you to write a popcorn-only cookbook? And
right.
I said, well, actually, a few years ago, before I got married, I was going out on a date with someone, and I told the guy, I said, look, before we get to the movies, you should know I'm a popcorn lover, and I want my own bucket of popcorn, and I don't share. And he was so insulted, and he said, well, just for that, I won't share my secret recipe for Mexican popcorn. And, you know, it's really funny. I looked at him and I said, wow, I wonder if there's a cookbook like that. And he said, well, who would buy it? And I said, well, I would. So this is the last I saw him, but 110 popcorn recipes later, voila,
wow.
For popcorn lovers only.
And did you really sit there in your kitchen and make these different recipes?
Absolutely. It took me probably, that was my first cookbook, and it took me probably about 7 months to really, you know, concoct all of these, because at first I thought I only needed about 20 recipes, and then I looked at most cookbooks, and they were over 100, and I said, well, I better get back to the drawing board here. But
you have some unusual ones. I mean, for example, popcorn salad. I mean, people would not picture some of the things that you're doing with popcorn. Popcorn popsicles. You're actually freezing popcorn.
Absolutely. That was probably, I think, one of the most unique things that I found about popcorn is that you could do a kind of a traditional popcorn ball type thing with the corn syrup and a little sugar and that sort of thing and different flavorings. But when you freeze it and then take it out, it has a really chewy, almost like the inside of a candy bar type consistency. They're probably my two favorites in the dessert area like that. There's one that my husband makes all the time, and it's called Mark Antony Nibble for no particular reason other than the cartoon was funny with it. And it's sort of a peanut butter and marshmallow fluff concoction. And you can either freeze that or just eat it regular, and it's, I swear, it's like the inside of a Snickers. And the neat part is you have to consider that you're making about 8 to 9 cups of popcorn. So the flavorings that you put on it, while if you were going to just sit there and eat a handful of chocolate chips, you know, that would be it.
Right.
This goes over 9 cups of popcorn, so it's much more low-cal, but you still get the flavor of a chocolate or a peanut butter or something. And then probably one of the most unique dessert ones is that same kind of idea, corn syrup with a malted milk base, and then you make it into popcorn balls, roll it lightly in a very light layer of melted chocolate, and freeze that, and you've got frozen malted milk popcorn balls, and they are great.
I just can't picture frozen popcorn.
It's funny because you don't think about it, but when you take it out and then just bite into it, it's got a, like I say, it's got a very chewy kind of flavor. It's very much like a frozen candy bar or something. It's really good.
Now, many of us have seen some different flavors, like probably like a taco flavor popcorn or something.
Right.
It's a little bit unusual, but your book has more than just unusual. I mean, you go to some, like you add coconut or banana, or even one recipe had coffee in it, I remember.
That's right. Yeah, I think there's a Kahlua Crunch that uses that kind of a corn syrup with the coffee in it. It's I've got even a popcorn pizza where the pizza crust is all made with popcorn, and it's the cheese that kind of holds it together. You sprinkle cheese on it, put it in the broiler, and, you know, have like a tomato-type seasoning on it, and that one's really fun. And then when I got married, I made a 3-tiered popcorn wedding cake for my wedding. So that was a pretty wild thing. In fact, we even got written up in a couple of tabloids about it because it was this big 3-tiered popcorn wedding cake.
How did you do that? Tell people how you did that.
It was so amazingly easy. It's done with a corn syrup base and vanilla icing just out of one of the cans of vanilla icing, and it tastes so much like wedding cake, you know, that really sickening sweet vanilla icing kind of thing. But it was, you just basically stir that all together, get it all mixed up, and then press it into, you know, these huge wedding cake pans that they have, and voila, there it was, a three-tiered popcorn wedding cake. Of course, I also married a professional comedian, so he decides to pull a really good one on me at the altar. He's putting my ring on me, and it didn't quite fit, and I thought, oh, this just can't be. You know, we just fitted that thing a couple weeks ago. You know, I looked down. He had substituted my wedding ring for a gold solitaire with a kernel of popcorn on it. So, you know, the whole church starts laughing. They didn't even know what it was. They knew something had happened. You know?
So you're just kind of known now as the popcorn lady.
That's right. That's right.
Diane Pfeiffer is our guest. The book is called For Popcorn Lovers Only. Diane, you're known as the former Iowa Popcorn Princess. Tell us why.
Okay. Well, when I was writing the book, I was trying to find out what the popcorn capital of the world was, and I called the Department of Agriculture. And according to their records, it was a little town called Vinton, Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
And so I called their Chamber of Commerce there and said, do you have any kind of a popcorn festival? They told me when it was, and I said, well, do you have a popcorn queen? And they said, yes, I'm sorry, we already have a local popcorn queen. And I said, well, hey, how about a popcorn princess? So they were very kind and let me go ahead and be their popcorn princess. I had an evening gown made out of like those old chenille bedspreads with the little white balls on them, so it looked like popcorn. It was pretty hilarious, throwing popcorn out to the viewers there. So it was quite exciting.
That's neat. Well, we'll get some of our listeners' popcorn stories in just a minute. I've always heard that Iowa also is the highest per-person consumption of popcorn of anywhere in the United States.
Well, they say the average American consumes over 73 quarts of popcorn a year, but I have a feeling in Iowa, and I know in this household it's a lot more than that.
Yeah. Well, I eat it literally every night. That's my before-bed snack. And,
right.
But I don't put anything special on it. And we'll talk about how do you make popcorn and how do you make it taste good in just a moment. But let's get to the phone lines here. Phil, you're up first.
Good morning. How are you, Diane?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
Good, good. Popcorn is a favorite at our house, and we try it a lot of different ways with cheese, melting cheese, and different things on it. The one that's been a favorite, I think it came back from a Canadian fishing trip with all of the individuals taking their bottles of hot sauce, but I came back with a sauce called Tiger sauce, which is a sweet sour sauce, and we put that liberally over a bowl of popcorn, and it disappears before you know it.
A sweet and sour popcorn.
Yeah, it's kind of a tiger sauce, it's called.
There you go.
So,
I know I've got a teriyaki recipe in here, and it might be kind of similar to that as well. That sounds good. Tiger sauce. I'll have to check that out in the Atlanta area here.
Do you serve that at a party or what, Phil?
We haven't, but that's a good idea.
How do you eat it then? You eat it?
Oh, we just sprinkle it on and then mix it up.
But when? When do you eat it?
Every night.
You do eat it every night?
Like your house.
Oh, my gosh. Don't you lay awake at night with that sweet and sour sauce? Whoa.
Well, it's a little more on the hot side.
Yeah.
Sweet, but it does have a touch of sweet, and doesn't seem to bother. In fact, my kids love the sauce so much they put it on eggs and bacon.
Oh, my gosh. And it's called
favorite on pizza as well.
Called Tiger sauce.
Yes.
Great. Thanks, Phil, for that
We'll
tip.
have to check that one out.
All right.
Clara, what's your popcorn story?
Yes, what my mother used to do, put in a kettle, and for instance, 6 cup of popcorn and almost 1 cup of sugar and half cup of honey, and also 1 cup of slivered toasted almonds.
Oh.
Then she would cook them until they would almost, the sugar dissolves. And then you have to work very fast. She put in on top of something that is a little wet. And she would push it down with half apple. Like, for instance, for Valentine's Day, she would make all kinds of hearts. And believe me, they are delicious.
Yeah.
They become like, those rice
Crispy things?
crispy or things like that.
Oh,
But
wow, that
and then
sounds
she would put just few little candies, colored candies on top.
Right.
Before they would dry.
Oh.
And when they are dry, they're truly delicious.
Yeah.
Boy, that does sound
Diane,
good.
you have a little thing. You have a picture on the back of your book of some hearts there with some red food coloring or something in it?
Right, yeah, that's the Valentine heart recipe. It's done with red hot, so.
No, not red hot. Just a little tiny confit to make a little color.
Yeah.
But then they would come brownish, you know what I mean, because they are a little bit cooked with sugar.
Great.
But then Thanksgiving was a little, different things, Christmas and so forth and so on.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thanks, Clara. We appreciate the call. Dave, you're up next with our guest, Diane Pfeiffer. Hi, Dave.
Hi there. Say, I have a really quick thing that I do. Boy, this is my favorite way of eating popcorn. I usually make it up, or if I'm at a movie, it's a lot easier. But I get me a package of Milk Duds and pour it into the popcorn, and then every now and then you get a Milk Dud along with the popcorn. It really adds to the flavor. Very similar to like what Diane was talking about for a sweet flavor.
Yeah, but Dave, the feeling of popcorn is not same in your mouth as the feeling of a Milk Dud. They're two different feelings in your mouth. Wouldn't that feel strange?
Well, actually it doesn't, because the Milk Dud lasts a little longer than the popcorn, so as you chew it, the popcorn itself actually becomes chewy along with that. And
it does.
And then the popcorn goes away, so then, the Milk Dud lasts for, maybe a couple of mouthfuls of popcorn.
I think I'm going to have to pass that one along to my husband. That sounds like something he'd do.
Dave does this in public, too. That's what's amazing about it.
Well, it's the only way that I can actually keep my wife from eating my popcorn at the movie, because she doesn't necessarily like it that way. And I've tried it with other things like at M&Ms. That's not too bad, but if it's warm popcorn, the warm popcorn will melt the chocolate, and then the M&M gets a little weird.
That's good. Good idea, Dave. Thanks for calling. Jeff, what's your story for Diane Pfeiffer? Hi, Jeff.
Hello. Good morning, Diane.
Hi.
Hey, when I was in high school, my parents hosted a young man from Costa Rica, and he tried a lot of things at our house that, were not common foods in his home country. And one night we had made some popcorn, which is a favorite treat at our house, but we're pretty traditional popcorn eaters, and we were just having it with the salt and butter salt on it.
Right.
And Jorge comes out from the kitchen with his popcorn in a bowl, and he drizzled Hershey syrup over it and was eating it like cereal with a spoon.
Oh.
And, so what the heck? A couple of us went and tried it, and every once in a while I'm still having my popcorn with my little bit of salt and some Hershey syrup drizzled over it.
Gross.
Now, I have to tell you, for breakfast yesterday, I had a bowl of popcorn with maple syrup poured over it and made it with a spoon.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. But Hershey syrup, I know that's a new one on me.
Jorge had some odd taste. He put coffee on his cornflakes, too. So,
Whoa!
And Jeff, do you still eat it with a spoon?
Yeah, it's a little messy for the fingers. My wife didn't like me messing up her
gosh.
kitchen towels, so.
I just can't picture that. Well, you've given us a new idea, Jeff. Thanks.
There you go.
And Diane, you really eat it for breakfast, too.
Yeah, in fact, that's what I just had it yesterday. I have a recipe called Pancake Pop, but the really quick version is to just get a bowl and stick the maple syrup on it and go for it.
And Diane, you have some recipes in the book that include chocolate chip type things, right?
Yes, I should do some chocolate chip pop cookies. It's kind of the equivalent of those big frozen yogurt cookies that they have, so
Right.
you can even put frozen ice cream in between them. Now,
Yeah, it's like an ice cream sandwich type thing.
That's right. Yeah, I have to credit my husband for, really turning me on to doing sweet things with it, because I really tend to like more of the herby type things with the Tex-Mex and the God Popper and all that with the Parmesan. So he was really the sweet tooth nut. I'm glad he convinced me to do that.
And Diane, I think I first got hooked on popcorn when I was hired in, I think, 9th grade to work at the drive-in movie theater up in Fairmont, Minnesota. And I had to sit in the little booth there and make the popcorn. And I think that the oil that we used was not soybean oil. It wasn't corn oil. It was like, I don't know if it was like palm kernel oil or coconut oil, but it sure tastes different when you go to movie theaters or something. Do you know why?
It usually is coconut oil, and I think the coconut and the palm kernel, I think they can withstand higher temperatures to pop the popcorn. But I'm with you. I used to get some popped popcorn when I was working on the book, just because I went through 150 pounds of unpopped popcorn on the book. But sometimes I was just in such a hurry that I had to get some popped. And I just found that coconut oil had such a weird taste to it. That's really one of the reasons I take my own popcorn now. My husband is so paranoid, and he says, "What if we get caught?" And I said, "Think of the press. It'd be great. Popcorn Princess gets, arrested in theater for taking her own popcorn. Come on, it's
Is your husband called the Colonel since you're the popcorn princess? That's what I want to know. But I don't know. Do you like making it at home better than buying it like at the store or prepackaged or something like that?
Well, I really do. Although there's a couple of, some light cheese popcorns that are really great. And I'm with the lady. I do like those Quaker popcorn cakes, too. As a matter of fact, I have to give a little plug for Quaker right now, because I have a cookbook called Gone with the Grits, which is all grits recipes. And it is currently on the back of 16 million boxes of Quaker quick grits right now. So if you want to see one of my other books, that's my.
Well, good
my
for
big,
you.
Thank you very much. It's very exciting. But anyway, I do like those popcorn, little cakes that you can spread things on. But that coconut oil just doesn't fit with me at all.
C, you're up next. Hi, C. What's the popcorn that you like?
I just wanted to say, as I've been on hold here, I've decided to order a couple of your books. I'm giving popcorn presents for Christmas.
Oh, that would be a great idea.
The old-fashioned popcorn stir and assorted popcorn, and your book will be a nice addition to round out the package.
Well, thank you so much.
I'm a teacher on maternity leave, and I just wanted to tell you one of the favorite things of the classroom children is to have popcorn parties. So I would certainly enjoy some new recipes.
And that's pretty healthy, too, isn't it?
Yes, that's why we like it.
Right.
One of the things I did for my children when they were younger was to make a no-bake birthday cake, popcorn cake, and this is probably not all that original, but maybe some people haven't heard of it recently. Is to take immediately when the popcorn comes hot, is to stir in some peanut butter, some mini marshmallows, some gumdrops, and some salted peanuts. And just stir that all in together while it's warm and pack it tightly into a buttered angel food cake pan or bun pan. And it makes an easy no-cook cake. You don't have to light the oven. You don't have to frost it. It's colorful. And the other little ones in the family can help make it.
And do you,
the overall,
now, do your kids
have a good part?
Your kids that you made that for, now when they start to grow up, do they still want
I
that
was
made?
just going to say that's one of the things that often comes up when they talk about childhood memories.
Yeah, and they kind of laugh about it, I suppose, but it's a nice memory, isn't it?
But yes, and some of them have started to. Their little ones aren't quite big enough to eat popcorn yet, but they intend to carry that on.
That's neat. Thanks, C, for
Thank
calling.
you.
Yeah, Diane, your book is filled with that type of thing, right?
Oh, yes, And in fact, when she was saying not quite old enough, my 17-month-old is absolutely in love with popcorn, and I was so terrified to let her have any, because I thought, she's going to choke on this or that. I mean, this kid jams it in her mouth. My husband looked at me very dryly the other night and said, well, I can certainly see genetics in play here. I mean, she's just
well, you know what? If your 17-month-old wakes up in the morning and sees her mother eating popcorn with maple syrup for breakfast, I guess that would be a pretty good indication she should start eating it, too. So.
That's right.
Like mother, like daughter, or whatever.
That's right.
Okay. Luann, you're up next. What's your popcorn story?
Hi. I first of all wanted to say I thought I was the only one in the world who ate popcorn with malted milk balls. I mean,
not
milk
another
duds.
one.
Because I'd pop one in my mouth at the movies and then put some popcorn in. And
have you met Dave? Dave?
No, I was so surprised.
Well, if you're look around the movie theater next time.
Plus, the popcorn helps get the stickiness out of your teeth, the milk duds out of your teeth.
Oh.
But when I married into my husband's family, I found out that that's what they had for supper on Sunday nights.
Oh.
And my father-in-law likes to get a glass of milk, and he stuffs his popcorn in the glass of milk.
Oh.
And eats it like cereal.
You want to tell me that again? I don't believe what I just heard.
Whoa.
Yeah, he gets a glass of milk, and he stuffs his popcorn in it and eats it with a spoon.
He takes a spoon, picks up popcorn with a spoon, dips
he stuffs the popcorn in the cup of milk.
He puts all the popcorn in the cup?
Yeah, he puts it in the milk. Yeah.
So it's like cereal then.
Right. And then so I thought that was kind of weird, but then I tried it with chocolate milk.
Oh no.
And it's good. I like it because it's kind of like eating cereal. So
I went to all that trouble to keep my recipes dry here. And I'm stuffing in a cup of milk.
And then with your little boy, that reminds me of my son because we would eat it every Sunday night. And our first child, he would stand there and watch the popcorn up.
Oh,
we took pictures of him, just sitting there staring at it going, and he sat there right with Daddy with his own little bowl eating it.
Isn't that a riot?
Isn't that child abuse? Thanks, Luann.
Thank you.
Diane, I can't even believe some of these stories. You're really onto something here, aren't you?
Oh, this is great. I mean, it's funny because, to be frank with you, I've done interviews in different parts of the country, and we don't get a phone call. I guess it just doesn't strike that chord
this
down
is
out in
Iowa.
corn country.
We just love popcorn here.
That's right.
But I never knew people ate it with chocolate milk and with a spoon. So.
I got to tell you, that's a new one on me. I thought I'd gone about as far as I could with the chocolate malted balls, but man.
And Laura, what's your popcorn story? Hi, Laura.
Well, hi. I love popcorn, and I like Rocky Road, the chocolate chip and marshmallow and peanuts and all that mixed together. But I thought everybody had heard about stuffing popcorn in a glass of milk.
Oh, come on.
Why, sure, that's the only way you can eat a Sunday night supper.
I know I've got to try this now. I may have to get off and pop some now.
I had friends back in Fairmont, Minnesota, who used to have popcorn in sandwiches for Sunday night dinner, but I don't think they stuck it in milk. Maybe they hid that from the rest of us.
That is
Aren't you embarrassed by that, Laura?
Well, no, but the chocolate milk, I've never tried that, and I don't really think I want to.
Come on, Laura, live a little.
Okay. But I definitely need that cookbook because I work with a lot of young people.
Yeah, well
and I need some ideas, and I know they love
It's
popcorn.
chock filled with it, so thanks for calling. And Sharon, you're up next. Sharon, what's your popcorn recipe?
Well, actually, I have a little story, too.
Okay.
We think of younger children with popcorn, but if you take popcorn to nursing homes, a lot of people that are older have restricted diets, and it makes a nice treat for them.
But doesn't it cause some trouble with people if their teeth have gotten bad or something?
Well, that could be. I just leave it at the nurse's station, and
Hey, I'll give you a hint. I bet those nurses are eating it.
That could be. But it is a nice treat for someone that's older. And I have a favorite recipe, and Diane, I'm looking forward to your cookbook, but I use popcorn pretzels, the goldfish, the cheddar cheese, margarine, Parmesan cheese, grated fresh, buttermilk dressing, and a little clove of garlic.
Ooh, that sounds good.
And I wrap that up in real pretty bags and put a little ribbon on it. I give it for Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, and also to new neighbors.
So it's like a popcorn party mix type thing.
You've got it. And it's just a little bit different with the fresh grated Parmesan cheese and the buttermilk.
Certainly sounds good.
And
I've even got one that's kind of called Kentucky Fried Kernels, and you do something a little similar, but you add cornflakes to it and do that same kind of seasoning and shake it up in a bag, almost like you were going to like coat chicken or something like that, but you do it with popcorn. So,
yeah.
But that sounds delicious. I'm going to have to try that one.
Sharon, Christmas is coming up.
That's right. I've got to get the bags and get the popcorn going.
The WHO staff would love to have some of that.
I'll remember that.
Thanks, Sharon.
Okay.
Diane, we haven't even gotten a chance to talk to you about your career. You've had a fascinating background, songwriter, singer. You used to be the telephone lady, right?
Right. Yes, I did some telephone recordings. The number you have reached is not in service at this time. Please disconnect and try again. So we do all kinds of fun things.
Well, next time, I'm going to have you on maybe around Christmas time because the response to this book has just been unbelievable. Well, let me ask you one quick question before we get a couple more calls in. What's the best oil to cook in at home?
I'll tell you what, my favorite way to cook popcorn, and I think everybody will enjoy this too. I'm not saying it's totally the best. When I'm splurging, I like to actually cook mine in olive oil, but that's because I like the taste of olive oil. But what I like to do also when I'm really watching calories and fat is you can get one of these microwave popcorn poppers at either a discount or department store. They're only about $3 or $4. You put a half a cup of unpopped regular popcorn, not microwave popcorn, just regular popcorn. Put it in there for about 4 minutes, depending on your microwave oven. Comes out crunchy and wonderful, and it's nice and toasty and dry. Then you can put whatever you want on it and save all your calories for the flavorings, not in the oil.
Yeah. Sue, one more quick recipe. Can you be real quick about it? Or popcorn tip?
Okay, I use either Hidden Valley Ranch or Good Seasons dry dressing mix.
Oh.
And mix that in with it.
Just
and
mixing.
You can get a lot of those that are fat-free, and they're really good.
You mix it in dry?
You can mix it in dry or either put a little butter in and then mix it in, either one.
Yeah. Well, that'll add a nice flavor to it. And, Diane, the phone lines are all still lit, and we just plain have run out of time. But what a great treat this was. We're going to award our 3 books. Let me go through. I'll tell you who I think, Diane. I think C, the teacher who has popcorn parties for birthdays with her special popcorn party cake. I think C should get a book.
Oh, that sounds good.
Luann's the one who also ate Milk Duds, but she also had that special, she was the first one to tell us about popcorn and milk, which I cannot believe. Eating popcorn with a spoon and milk. And then how about Phil uses that tiger sauce for a sweet and sour popcorn?
That sounds pretty good to me.
Those 3, call back in. We will get your information and award you those 3 copies of For Popcorn Lovers Only. Diane Pfeiffer is the former Iowa Popcorn Princess celebrating October National Popcorn Month.